This is the Launchpad for Phelan's new edition. You should already have access to this. You should have gotten an email from me with login information. So you'll be brought to this site and you'll be plugging in your email and password into the right box. Um, and this is what's going to come with the book. I believe the books are going to be ordering the package with the access card. So students get access to this for free. So it'd be really good idea to make yourself familiarized with it. It's going to be a great place to access all of your instructor resources, but you can also assign online homework from here. So I'm just going to walk you through the process. So as I mentioned, you're going to sign in on the right black box here. And this is going to take you to, well, this took me to the main screen, but I'm just going to show you the dashboard that you'll be brought to. And the first thing you'll see, you won't see a course already created. You'll have to go through the process of creating a course. It's a very simple process. The first window when you click Create Course is just going to verify you're in the right book. Click Next. This will ask if you want to create a copy of an existing course. And this is really great if you're teaching from semester to semester. You don't have to recreate the wheel every time. So you can actually copy assignments you created for the fall for your spring semester. Say no, and you'll just plug in your course title and select the school and term that you're going to be teaching in. Do be mindful of the time zone. It is auto set to Eastern. So you want to create that, make that central. Okay, once you've created it, you'll see your courses listed at the top. If you click on the title of the course, this will bring you into a welcome screen. And again, this is really good for students because the first thing they'll see is their course name, their instructor's name. They know they're in the right location. The other things that they'll have access to is there's a Scientific American news feed. This will generate articles every 7 days, so students can have access to that if you're going to be assigning a research paper or want them to have access to that for any of your assignments. They get access to that automatically. And then any assignments you are posting, anything due in the next 7 days will be listed here. So when you click enter, you're actually going to be brought into the meat and potatoes of the Launchpad. And the first thing you might notice is this big yellow banner. It says that your course is not visible to students until you activate it. So this is a really important part of utilizing the Launchpad is you actually have to activate it first and send your students the login URL to your course. This would be different if you end up doing integration with Blackboard. The process is a little bit different because students will be going to Blackboard to register. But if you're not doing that, you would just click Activate the Course. It'll give you an overview of your course information. You can edit it from here if you need to. If you click Activate, it's going to generate an email. And the idea is you copy and paste this email, you send it to your students the first day of class or before the first day of class. It'll include your class URL. This is your class and no one else's, and it's identified by those little numbers at the end. And it gives them instructions on how they register. It gives them information on how they can get actually 21 days of temporary access if they're waiting for something like financial aid. There's a nice get started guide and video that'll help them get acclimated and familiar with the system. And if they have any issues, there's information on tech support, how to access tech support. So there's a lot of support for students, and this is a really great email to send out to students if you're assigning homework in here so that they are, from the first day of class, ready to go. So when you click Done, you'll notice that the yellow banner is disappeared, and we're back into the main section of the Launchpad. So the idea is that you would set up your assignments first and then make the course activated so that students, when they log in here, they'll see what they have due in each section. So the content is actually organized by the table of contents of the chapter. So if you click on any of the chapters and expand it, you're going to notice a couple of things. So the ebook is automatically loaded in here. So this is another great tool. Students will have not only the printed book, they'll also have the ebook. But in addition to the ebook, there's some pre-built resources. So you'll notice the learning curve, and I'll explain that in just a minute. There's an end of chapter quiz. And then when you click on any subsection, there's going to be a variety of things. So this one has another animation quiz loaded in here. What's in this section here? This is a show what you know self-quiz. So basically all of the content and assessment that's been built for each chapter is created specifically for the chapter and for the Phelan text. So it's a whole bank of assessment, levels of assessment that are tied to each chapter, and it kind of acts like a course in a box where you've got your reading material, you've got your practice material, you've got your videos and activities for students already preloaded in here for each chapter. So it makes it very easy to assign anything in here that you want to include. Before I go over that, I'll just explain what this learning curve is. This is something you're going to see in every chapter, and it is one of our featured resources. It's an adaptive assessment quiz. So rather than it being a static set of 20 questions, students are working towards an activity score. This one is set to 600. That means roughly if every question is worth 10 points, students have to get about 60 questions answered correctly before they're done the activity. The topics that are covered are listed at the bottom, and you'll notice these purple bars. You can think of these as banks of questions for each topic with easy, medium, and difficult level questions. Students are working through each section and each level, and how much time they spend on each section or each level is going to depend on their understanding of the material. So it's very individualized. The system's going to adapt based on the student responses and give them the extra practice on those topics that they need. The other great thing is that at the end of the activity, the student's going to get their own individual report. It's going to show them what areas they did the weakest in, what areas they did the best in, and for those areas that they have some trouble spots, when you expand it, it's going to bring out the actual sections of the ebook. Similarly, you'll get access as the instructor to both individual student reports and this class breakdown. This is a macro view of your entire course. It's going to show you what areas the class as a whole had the most difficulty with. So the idea and what faculty are doing is they'll assign the learning curve to be completed before lecture time. They'll run these reports and then actually tailor their lecture to going over those topics a little heavier in class where students showed the most problem areas. And again, when you expand on the topic, it'll show you just what areas of the chapter itself that are covering those topics. Sometimes it'll also include some resources like flashcards that you could assign along with the readings. I'm just going to show you what these activities look like. So all the questions are going to be true, false, fill in the blank, or multiple choice in format. The progress bar is at the bottom, so students always know how far along they are. If they don't know the answer to this question, there's a couple of options. They could click get a hint, but if you watch that progress bar, the number of points they would be awarded goes down. They click show me. It'll give them the answer, but they don't actually get any points awarded, so they're still starting from scratch. The third option, and actually the better option if they don't know the answer to this, is to click this ebook link. It's always going to appear on the right-hand side here, and this is going to bring them not to the whole book or the whole chapter. It's just going to bring them to the section of the book where that concept is being covered. So the idea is they come in here, they reread the material, they close it out, they answer the question, and they don't lose any points for checking the ebook. We want them to. This is a purely practice tool. When students complete the learning curve, if you assign it for, say, 5 points, they're going to get the full 5 points regardless of how well they did on it. It's going to be given upon completion, so sort of pass, fail. So as I mentioned, there's a learning curve with every chapter in here, and there's also going to be the end of chapter quiz. So these are the two main things you're going to see over and over again. The content within the chapter itself is going to vary depending on what's the most appropriate. The end of chapter quiz is different, where it's not adaptive. It's more of a traditional format. But the great thing about this is that you as the instructor can edit any of these questions. You can move them, you can remove them, you can edit them, you can add new questions. You have total control over this quiz. This is different from Learning Curve. You actually don't have the ability to edit any of the questions or sections within the Learning Curve. So if you're teaching a chapter and you're not going over the entire chapter itself in class, or you're not assigning the entire chapter as reading, you may want to use this instead of the learning curve. Okay. As I mentioned, there are other resources in here, and again, they're all created specifically for the Phelan text, and they will vary based on what's the most appropriate. And how these sort of got here wasn't an editor who chose these resources. We actually have a whole board of faculty members who have taught the course, who have taught it in a hybrid setting or a face-to-face setting, or purely online, and they came together and they selected the tools that they feel are most appropriate for each section. What's in here is not exhaustive. Anytime you want to see what else is available for Chapter 7 that may not have been selected by that peer review faculty board, you just click on Browse for more resources, and it's going to show you everything available for Chapter 7. So you'll notice there's a key term feature that wasn't loaded in here. There's another Q animation that wasn't loaded in here. So you can see other resources that you may want to include. And the easiest way to do that is to just click on that little blue add button. It's going to bring it to the top of the unit. And then from there, you can drag and drop it wherever you want it to go. Go at the very end of the chapter if you want. Let's put it right under that quiz there. So it's very simple. This system is very user-friendly. There's a lot of the features like drag and drop that make this very user-friendly. Now, in terms of assigning, it's just a few clicks. So if you'd like to assign that learning curve, you would just hover over the title, click on that assign button. It's going to pop up a window with a calendar. Select the due date. You give it a point value. It's going to be auto set to a certain point value, but you can change it to fit your syllabus. And then give it a category. Everything's going to be uncategorized as a standard. So I always recommend that you give it a category name so that your gradebook isn't really messy with a lot of uncategorized activities. And then once you've created a category like learning curve, when you go into the next chapter, say chapter 8, and you want to assign it, you don't have to recreate the category. It'll be listed there for you to select from. So once you click assign, you'll notice that the due date and the point value are going to appear on the right-hand side. Students are going to see that as soon as they log in. Anything that's assigned is going to be brought to the top of the Launchpad so they can see it's the first thing that they need to pay attention to. And any points that are going to be associated are auto going to be filled into the gradebook itself. So you'll be able to access students' performance. You'll be able to monitor what they've done, what they still need to do right from the gradebook, right within here. So this is just a quick overview of the Launchpad. As I mentioned, it's very, very simple. You already have access to it. If you don't have access to it, contact me. If you would like a one-on-one walkthrough where you can ask me questions and go through the system with me directly, I am more than happy to do that. I'm available anytime, really, you are. So just reach out to me. My direct phone number is 866-843-3715. My extension is 1720. Feel free to give me a call. You should have an email address already, but like I said, I look forward to working with you and your school. I'm very excited about this adoption. I think you all are going to really love this book, and I hope you make use of this Launchpad because students really do respond to it, and it helps bring the topic to life and the course to life for them. So if you have any questions or any needs, just reach out to me. Thank you.